Is that
I'm not
what?
the trader, I'm the exchange, I'm the house.
Oh, you're the house. Jeez, you host the traders.
Yeah, so we actually make sure like all your assets actually in your accounts are well connected, the smart contracts are doing well. So I don't deal with the tradings per se. We just enable people to trade.
I like that. Okay, so tell folks about your platform.
Yeah, so I built Jua. Jua is the first local P2P crypto exchange in Africa. When you go to our platforms, you can buy Bitcoin, stable coins, and other cryptocurrencies from as low as $1 with over 200 payment methods. We're currently available in 6 African countries.
Nice.
We have over 10,000 users and we've done more than 1.5 billion in transactions the past 2 years.
Man, yo, that is so impressive. First of all, when you told me that when we were setting up this conversation, I was just like, this guy is killing it. Very impressive. So you've been in business for how long? You've been engaging for how long?
So building per se in crypto, it's since 2021, so almost 5 years, but the platform operating transactionally, like fully, it's been 2 years.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so yeah.
So Kenya's a big on crypto, eh?
Yeah, so
it's growing so fast.
I think you're quite impressed by the 1.5 billion when the total crypto market in Kenya, as per last year, was actually standing at around $20 billion.
What?
That's almost 2 trillion transaction.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that's like almost a parallel economy that's actually working aside the currencies. So
right.
In Kenya. In Africa alone, total crypto transaction in last year was more than 100 billion.
Oh my God,
Kenya
that's amazing.
Is number 3 after Nigeria and South Africa.
Nice. So I want to know your background, bro. So did you grow up like in a wealthy, family? I'm curious, man, because you're clearly passionate about tech and money. Were your parents in finance or what?
No, I'd say I'm lucky. Like life gave me some few opportunities. We weren't rich per se. We were just maybe in a middle class family.
Yeah.
I was lucky that my dad actually brought a computer home when I was 2 years, class 2. That was around 6 years old.
Yeah.
So I got to learn how to switch on and switch off. I think that's the only thing they taught me, how to switch off.
Yeah.
Windows 1992, Windows 92. So from there, I learned like playing with words, playing games, a simple WhatsApp program. By the time I was in high school, I had an uncle who was doing web design. So I was curious, what is he doing in the Streamweaver and everything? So he gave me a dare if I could build a website using one of his softwares, and I did it by the time I was 16 years old. So by 16, I could be able to build a website.
So what about your education?
I've studied in Nairobi, here in Gongwood, some private school. Then I went to a good county school in Kenya. Then
what did you study? What did you study?
In Campus.
Yeah, in Campus. I'm in college or whatever.
Science and Business Administration.
Okay, yeah. Interesting. Yeah. So you were very intentional about what you're doing right now. You knew this is the path you're going to end up in.
Yeah, I think like growing up, I always looked up to guys like Bill Gates, Zuckerberg and everything, and I never saw Africans in them. I never saw like an African role model in tech. But I was so inspired by guys like Bill Gates and Steve Jobs, guys who kind of changed the world with technology. We're living in an age whereby the most superior things, the most superior weapon to actually revolutionize the world is actually technology.
Yeah.
So America is actually a superpower because of the technology that are actually building. So if us as Africa, we ever going to participate in this global thing that we're actually in, I came to believe that technology is actually a vital part in it. So for me, it's more of a sacred mission. It's like a liberation through tech.
I can imagine, bro. So how did you decide, or at what point did you decide to, start this whole crypto conversation? What really fascinated you about crypto?
So it's not crypto per se. For me, I've been hooked into the blockchain. Like trading per se, I'm not that guy who will go into the charts and buy and sell. For me, I'm the guy who's actually the guy behind the code. I'll actually make sure that if you have a wallet and you deposit your $1, you see your $1.
Nice.
If the market actually goes up by 1%, you can see that reflected. If you need to withdraw your cash, you need to withdraw cash.
Yeah.
But actually joining crypto, it was actually in 2020 during the Corona era. It was a period where everyone was actually looking how to make money online. Among the things that were actually going up back then, one Bitcoin was less than even $6,000. Right now, it's more than 99K, and that's on a falling market today. So I wanted to buy some Bitcoin. I had convinced some of my relatives to invest, but they couldn't buy because the platforms were so hard. They had to do like their cards, some KYC, some documentations. Platforms like Coinbase, Binance, but were not even available in Kenya back then for most of the people. And the platforms that were there, they were quite complex. You couldn't even navigate. They had all the markets from options, futures, leverage, things that a normal 40, 50 or a 30-year-old African never cared about.
I know, and it just sounds so complex.
Exactly.
We're like, what is that?
Exactly.
Chinese, yeah.
So for me, it was like, if I could really build, I could build. Why don't I simplify these technologies for Kenya? We saw our technology in building, and we actually took that initiative. We started building in a time whereby whatever we were building, blockchain tech, was never taught in any campus. So we had to go.
I can imagine, bro. So all these things you learned, it was self-taught.
Yeah, everything we did.
Amazing.
So blockchain per se, it's called Web3. So cryptocurrency is called Web3. So it's a level of internet where we enable people to own things on the internet. Prior to it, you could just view and maybe communicate on the internet. So I believe after 2020, 2030, you're entering a new level into the internet where there's AI in blockchain. So blockchain enables people to own stuff in the internet. So there's a lot of things beyond crypto. Most of the people just know crypto is the things the guys gone on TikTok and show their balances.
Right here, guilty as charged. But they do, just know you're educating me. So I'm going to ask you kidogo, funny questions. Anyway, proceed. Yeah,
so most of the people have a biased thing of crypto. Most the guys who are out there kind of preaching crypto, they're just showing their wallet balance.
Yes.
And if you ask me per se, I don't think that's the only thing behind crypto. So crypto, there are three layers. So there's Bitcoin, we have stable coins, and we have altcoins. Altcoins is just alternative coins and everything. Things like Trump token. You had Trump release token. So those are Trump tokens. They're mostly speculative. Bitcoin was something that was more of a digital gold. It's trying to replace the gold per se. It's being embodied by US financial services and also some African financial services. Then you have stablecoins. Stablecoins is the most advanced and the most useful thing in cryptocurrency per se, and also in Africa, and it's also one of the most adopted. So stablecoin, to simply put it, is just having your dollars on the block on internet. So rather than you having your dollars in your bank account or in your app, so it's how do we actually store your dollar on the internet? So it's called a stablecoin market. That's the biggest market that we've actually worked on. That's where we've done more than 80% of the transaction, because the problem that it actually solves, it's in Africa, we have a dollar shortage. So rather than relying on your bank, rather than relying on the Forex Bureau in order to have your dollars with you, you can actually come to a crypto exchange like ours, or to whatever desk that there is. You give them your local currencies, and you actually get dollars on the internet that you can pay anywhere. So bank transaction usually go more than 5%. If you go and transact with stable coins, you transact, let's say in Jua, we'll charge you around 1.5% transaction fees, and when you go to bank, you'll be charged more than 5% plus. Bank settlement, it will take 4 to 7 days. Crypto transaction in 15 minutes, you can send money in the world.
Nice. So I want to go back to that Bitcoin thing. The way you try to, of course, buy Bitcoins back then. So did you actually buy?
No.
What? Are you serious?
No, weirdly, my first crypto, I held them in my exchange.
Okay,
that's been my journey. The first time that I actually had some crypto, it was when we had already built the Jua app, and I actually started owning. After it, all my money is actually in crypto.
That makes a lot of sense. So keeping it moving, do you ever get frustrated when people constantly ask you to explain for them what this crypto thing is about? Because I know there's many Kenyans who are they're fascinated about these conversations. It sounds very appealing, but you've had to do a lot of explanations for common Kenyans, the ones who I guess want to get into the space.
I actually don't even tell people what I build. People just know I'm a software developer, because whenever you mention crypto, you usually have a very biased look of me. I think the way
when you say biased, you mean like what, misconceptions or what?
Scammers and just traders. You think whenever I say I'm into crypto, you'll think I'm that guy who's actually out there who's maybe buying and selling stuff predictive. It's not sure, maybe gambling per se, but there are ways you can deal with crypto just beyond the speculative ways. So for me, I've actually specialized in payments. So when you come to us, we can enable you do any cross-border remittance using cryptocurrency, the same value of a dollar. So I think it's like we're doing dollars over crypto.
That makes a lot of sense. So since time immemorial, since decades ago, there's always been good ideas that people invest in, right? So obviously land, we're talking about stocks, and then obviously in the recent past, stuff like content creators got into YouTube heavy. You invest all your stuff on YouTube. Apple was a big thing, I guess, for most folks. And then now we have crypto. But in your own words, what's a good idea, and why should I put my portfolio on crypto? For somebody listening to you right now, how would you describe a good idea and the reason as to why you should take advantage of this quote-unquote good idea called crypto, in terms of me putting my portfolio in it?
So I'll give you some figures. So $1 to 1 Kenyan shilling exchange rate during the independence era, it was almost 20 Kenyan shillings. During the Moi era, it reached almost 40 to 60 Kenyan shillings, Kibaki 80, Uhuru period 130, then early Ruto times we even reached 160,
yes.
Then it came back. So one thing you'll come to understand, if you're storing money if you just reach and if you're not just having your land and everything, if you decide to put your assets in money, you're losing value over time.
Yeah.
One thing about Bitcoin is I know a Kenyan who once pitched Bitcoin into me. It was in 2016. I was still even in campus. Back then, Bitcoin was less than even $100. This guy is an engineer in Kenya.
Yeah.
He had like $500,000 and bought around 2,000 Bitcoin.
Oh my God.
So right now, the guy is worth around 2.5 billion Kenyan shillings. He's a Kenyan.
What? The guy's doing good, eh? So are we saying the guys who got in early are definitely killing it?
Exactly. So this is but for him to understand, he was an engineer. He actually understood the tech. He was not a speculator. He didn't buy to speculate. He really understood the power of inflation, the power of devaluation and everything. You have to understand economics before you actually invest in anything. So for you, I'll just tell you about the numbers. Right now, we have very few things in the world that are actually appreciating. In Africa, we still have lands per se. But I won't tell you to put all your assets in crypto, but it's quite advisable to have around 10 to 20% of your portfolio in something that can appreciate in the next 10 years.
Yeah, you got to diversify.
Exactly. Because even if you look at the price of Bitcoin, 2020 when I started building, the price of Bitcoin was almost $6,000. The highest price we've reached this year, it's $128,000. That's more than 15 million shillings. You get it. Today is actually low. We're below $100,000.
Yeah.
But what you're looking at it's something that maybe in the next 5 to 10 years, we can do maybe 200K to 500K. So it's not that you're supposed to take all your money and put it on Bitcoin. But if you have extra, why not diversify? It's not smart to put all your eggs in one basket. The way you, as any portfolio, they have like a basket of things. Bitcoin is one of the most promising digital products right now in the world.
It's like digital gold, huh?
It is the digital gold and oil in one thing.
What?
Really. All the time, I knew people who used to wake up and they were up 10%. You're saving your up 10% when you're normal. Money market funds, they're doing you 10 or 6% per annum. But there's some assets that can do 10% per month or maybe some 5% per day. So it's quite speculative. It's quite promising, but there's some hope in it, but I won't tell you to put all your money in Bitcoin.
Sawa. All right, so the basis of this conversation is about next generational crypto apps. And based on that, what exactly are you building and why now? Next generational crypto apps. What's so different about the next generational ones?
So it's simple. The biggest or the most used platform in Kenya is M-Pesa. M-Pesa is a unicorn. A unicorn is a company with more than $1 billion in valuation. In Kenya, we have only one tech unicorn, M-Pesa. But M-Pesa has one challenge. Whereby, if you travel outside Kenya, you have your money in your M-Pesa wallet, you'll come actually to find out that it's so hard for you, let's say, to pay into another M-Pesa agent in Kenya, in Uganda, per se. M-Pesa has failed to penetrate markets like Ethiopia, Uganda. Why? Because they actually telecom fast. For M-Pesa to actually penetrate a new market, they first need to go out there, create telecommunication line, release SIM cards. Then after it, sell SIM cards and people then onboard them and agents into money. I think that's first generation technology. First generation technology is actually based on USSD, whereby you just dial some stuff and you actually do the settlement and technology. That's one of the slowest things right now in the world. We are in the internet age. Right now, they call M-Pesa app a super app, but you can do whatever you can do on M-Pesa app on your SIM toolkit. How is that a super app? app.
Right.
You know, a super app should be
Yeah.
an app that has more than one function. So
Right.
what we're doing in finance, what M-Pesa is doing right now in Kenya has some limitation, has some barrier. You know, it has reached a point whereby we call it market saturation. You have more than 90%. So the only way you can grow each year is by increasing your transaction cost.
Exactly.
So that's how M-Pesa
Wow.
is growing
Yeah.
each year. And from it, I'm not seeing innovation. You know, I'm 27 years old. M-Pesa is 25 years old. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
it's like, why should my grandparents and my grandchildren use the same level of technology?
Right.
So I think that's where we come in. So we're just trying to disrupt the status quo. You know, right now, it's not that Bitcoin is a solution. It's not that stablecoin is a solution. But right now, where we stand, we're just trying to solve the gaps that that are actually available in the African financial space. You know,
Yeah,
dollar
yeah.
is a huge thing right
Yeah.
now. But in the future, if you ask me per se, I'm building Jua. We are building something next. It's called Mwezi. So Mwezi, it's
Mwezi.
yeah. So Jua, it's
Yeah, oh,
crypto.
interesting.
Yeah,
Wow.
So the next
Yeah.
platform I'm actually building, it will be next. It's a super app. So the next thing is I want to bring the game to M-Pesa. So I
Right.
think on radio I'll say I'll challenge M-Pesa at your end game.
Ah, that's amazing. That's amazing. Trust is still a barrier.
True.
Exactly, especially when it comes to apps like yours. How does Jua Labs approach security and, of course, address this trust issue?
So the core vital thing and the only thing that will make me not be arrested, let's say by the CBK or the CMA, it's KYC and KYB.
Yeah.
It's for every money that I transact in my platform, I must know the customer and I must also know the business.
Yeah.
I think that's the first thing that we actually bring in line. Like, we won't touch money unless we actually know whose money it is. So it's like, you want to transact with let's say $500,000 transaction. The first thing is you'll actually have to know, okay, like, who are you? Are you a politically exposed person? Where is the source of funds and where is it going to? Such that we can also verify. So I think that's the first thing that we actually are focusing on right now. So it's KYC and KYB. And another thing is just the security around the development of our platform. So I think I've really invested a lot on cybersecurity. There's once a time I think we were hacked more than $12,000 of our customer funds. So I was still in my teens. I couldn't sleep that day. Early 20s. So I couldn't sleep on that day. So that's a hard lesson that right now I can't really allow it to happen. So whenever I'm up, I actually have to make sure that everything is intact and everything. So
I can imagine, because online fraud is on the rise in Kenya, man. Like, cybersecurity has to be very key for apps like yours. So what about initially before we got into studio, you were telling me about regulation in Kenya when it comes to crypto and and generally the whole, I don't want to say industry, the whole space. What's the ideal regulation? What does it look like to you? How should it function?
I think that the regulation is actually good because they really didn't define everything in the VAS bill. So during last month, when Raila was actually, during Raila's death, among the bills that was actually passed, it was the VAS bill. So the beauty of it's they actually recognize our platforms. So exchanges are right now recognized. Right now, we're actually talking with the CMA in the sandbox, and they are talking to us and asking us how they want us to be regulated. So I think the government is actually coming with a good approach. Most of the regulators asked us about the advice, like how should the regulation be and everything. So in as much as I'm a Gen Z, I'd say hit right there.
Yeah, good stuff. I like how they're so transparent, man. So what are some of the you can give us maybe 3 features, that define, like you said, a super app, a next gen trading app. 3 features that very well will stand out. And
okay, I won't really say, but I'll tell you something. Let me tell you the comparison of a Kenyan super app vis-a-vis a super app that I've seen while traveling around.
Fair enough. I like that.
So we have something called like the WeChat.
Okay.
So WeChat, the whole idea of a super app, it's a app that you don't need to leave the app to do anything in your life. So if I need to chat with you in the morning, I'll chat on the app. If I need an Uber ride, I'll get it on app. If I need a bank, I'll get it on app. Whatever I need on an app, if I need news, I can get it on that WeChat. I think that it's an app with more than one function. You get it? M-Pesa, as you look at it, M-Pesa app, as you look at it, you can just do one thing. It's payment. Whatever they're doing on it is just microservicing, because all the things that they've put on the M-Pesa app, like without the M-Pesa app, you can still do it. That's the biggest thing. So for us, I think what we are really working on with Mwezi per se, it will be, we want to do more than just payments. We're working on building an app that that you can communicate with.
Yeah.
You want to challenge that, you can shop on, you can do payments on, you can find services and things around it. So it's like an app which my child, if when I'll ever get one, they'll never need to leave the app in order to get other things.
Yes, yes, I like
I think
that.
that's what we're looking at it, because if you look at WeChat right now, I don't think we need to be paying for things like maybe SMS or calls. But M-Pesa app can't be a super big, because it can allow you to send message within the app or maybe calls, because they're making revenue from calls and SMS.
I see where you're going with this. Wow, yeah.
So it's a matter, it's like, I believe Africa, we have more than 100,000 developers, almost like an army. Almost similar number to our army. 100,000 developers. We have one of the smartest brains in the world. African engineers are building all these unicorns across the world. The remote workers, in Amazon, in Facebook, in Meta. But as we're looking in Kenya, like, I won't say there's any platform, me as an African, that I'll daily use that is Kenyan. If you wake up in the morning, if it's WhatsApp is foreign owned.
Wow.
If I go to Twitter, that's foreign owned.
Exactly.
If you go where our data, most of it is in foreign servers. The only thing we're doing maybe in Kenya is Safaricom, but sorry to say, 40 to 50% of a shareholding is not even Kenya.
Right. Facts.
Yeah. So it's a matter of like us, the future engineers, the future CEOs, like what type of Silicon Savannah are we claiming this to be? We call Kenya the Silicon Savannah, but we're just defined by one thing that's more than 25 years old.
Dude, I like how you put it. And then Kenyans have this thing for foreign stuff. Yesterday I was talking to somebody over here who's really pushing this. She's an advocate of the Made in Kenya. Yeah, the Made in Kenya brand, I guess. So is it correct? Am I right if I say Kenyans are, we're just suckers for everything foreign, and then we almost have, we have this preconceived notion that Kenyan products are not as high quality compared to the foreign ones, and maybe that's also related to like apps and stuff. Because I was even checking the other day, there was an article on one of the online dailies, and they're talking about how apparently there's a Kenyan phone, locally manufactured phone. You get the sales are bad. Kenyans just don't like those products, man. So what do you think is going on in this country with regards to consumer behavior?
I think one thing I'll also put it to the builders and developers, we're scared to challenge. Right now, ever since I've met really few people who are willing to challenge the status quo. Like most of the people right now won't want to build to disrupt M-Pesa, but will want to build in a way whereby they'll integrate with M-Pesa. You get it? Like right now, if I'm building anything, like I'll want to integrate with M-Pesa. I'm not really thinking, how will finance be if I don't have to go through the M-Pesa channels?
Right.
So I think right now it's the creators that are kind of scared, but to innovate, to invent, you must risk. You must risk failure, you must risk being laughed at, looking stupid and everything. So I think right now, the most people in the world, because even if you look at things like Facebook, when it started, it didn't even have a business model for the past almost 3 or 4 years. It was just something guys could actually go out there. Most of these platforms, they didn't even, Amazon lost money for almost 20 years before it actually made money. So I think right now we don't have builders, entrepreneurs, or initial pioneers who are actually willing to go through that initial turmoil.
Right.
So it's not that
maybe because it's a cost, Ama.
But we need to because if you don't, we'll actually fail a generation. Because if you actually fail this digital age, like that's simply because right now I actually see us like we are in a digital colonial era, whereby like right now everything we're consuming is not ours. All the data, everything. Like right now I have a startup, but 80% of my cost is actually going to foreign entities.
Wow.
Not even my employees, my server cost, everything cost, gas fees and everything. We don't have anything that's yours, and I think we also have to bring that mind to our local solution, our products. If you look at West doesn't use WeChat. In America, there are some Eastern products that are actually banned. Why don't we in Africa also consider things like that? How can we also improve our own industry, create our own data economy, look at the future of technology in Africa? I think a lot actually lacks right now, but we need to be bold. I think the major thing is boldness.
I like that. We actually need to be bold. Have you launched Waze already?
Not yet.
Okay, fantastic. So, Kwanzaa, when you launch it, you better let me know so we can have that conversation over here. Sawa, let's take a short break, listen to some music, alafu we come back and continue with this conversation. Guys, I am hanging out with the brilliant Muchiri Elkanah. He is the founder and CEO of Jua Labs, and we're talking here, building the next generational crypto trading apps in Kenya. I've got some Maroon 5 and Megan Thee Stallion with beautiful mistakes. Twende kazi.
Have you tuned to the best